South by Southwest feels like South by of the old. And I think even before COVID, even past that, where, it's the focus has really been on the panels this year. It seems like everyone is here because they are so curious about the ideas. I think they're trying to understand the modern consumer as habits and rhythms have kind of been blown apart by COVID. People are trying to re-understand the consumer, understand how AI and machine learning fits into their business. And there's just been a ton more focus on actually going to the panels and attending the conference than necessarily what party can they get to each night.
So let me ask you about AI. And of course, we hear quite a lot bubbling up and Microsoft's innovations and ChatGPT and so forth. What's going on there in terms of the buzz? And for marketers, what are they trying to solve to harness these new tools?
Yeah, I think the big thing that people are trying to solve is the ethics of it all and understanding, one, these machines are only as powerful as the data they can capture. So what are the ethics behind data capture, data privacy? There's a lot to be figured out there. One interesting talk that I saw yesterday was AI and its relationship to the newsroom, because it feels like news organizations are having to face using this technology sooner than other industries and categories, especially when it comes to local news, who are asking reporters to report more with less people. And this becomes a really good augmentation tool. But, the questions of how do you source, how do you remain objective, how do you remain transparent are some of the really key debates that are coming up. So a lot of the ethics behind AI and machine learning have been a huge topic of conversation, and kind of which of the different paths could we go? Could we go to a path where the consumer is served up exactly what they want without even having to do anything? Or is it that they're served up only the content the platform wants them to see, and they don't even have the ability to find the content they might want? I think from a marketer standpoint, there's, marketers have been using machine learning for a long time when it comes to data modeling and things like that. And I think the big question is, how will this augment the creative practices? And there was an interesting talk on the opening day by the co-founder of OpenAI about, this is meant to amplify human ability, not to replace it. And so I think the key thing that we're hearing is it's going to be like a tool. It's going to be like any tool. How do you learn to yield this tool in an effective way? A great quote that came out of A.B. Webb's talk was, paper is a great tool, but it's kind of irrelevant if you're illiterate. A calculator is a great tool, but it still requires some basic math understanding and able to use that tool. And OpenAI and ChatGPT are similar. Understanding how to develop a good prompt to get a good output is going to be a key skill for people to develop. And so that's one of the key things we're saying is, spend time in the space, learn how to create a successful prompt, because developing that skill will be very helpful in the long term.
So what are some of the questions that your customers have, your clients who are there, or that you just speak with from time to time? What are their expectations around AI in terms of this next application?
I think the big one is, again, the ethical question of, how do we get a quality output? What are the ethical data captures? What is the ethical, there's a lot of bias when it comes to current AI and machine learning. These are models being fed by people, and we don't have a lot of transparency into who are these people that are feeding the models. And so I think there's a lot of questions around bias and how can we make sure that this technology doesn't just become an echo chamber for human biases that are developing the platform.